Hello YouTube, it's me Bergie, and I'm here with my review slash predictions for mid-season finales slash season finales for the TV shows I've been watching. And as you can see by the title, today I will be talking about Doctor Who, which had its season finale this past Saturday. Now, just before I get into that, I want to apologize beforehand if, my lips get really red or if, I keep on touching my lips. They have been so dry lately to the point where they just hurt like hell, even though I've been putting creams and stuff that I've used beforehand that work, but for some reason it's not working right now. So that is why I might touch my lips. I'm not just a weirdo. Even though I am weird, that is not the reason behind me touching my lips. So yeah. If you have not seen Doctor Who at all, or if you have not seen this newest season, then you've been warned if you're watching this, because there will definitely be spoilers. So if you want to not see spoilers, then I recommend you stop watching this right now. Okay, so season 8 ended with Cybermen in London because Missy had a plan with them. She was having the dead turn into Cybermen to take over the world or whatever. I don't know. And during the season, Clara loses Mr. Pink, who she was in love with. And I think this is very important to keep in mind when discussing season 9, because I feel like it is the reason behind her actions and therefore the Doctor's actions. But yeah. So I'm not going to talk in depth about the entire 9th season. I mean, you can just watch the 9th season. There's only 12 episodes and it's not that long. So I'm rather going to just talk about 10 points, which I have chosen. And they include specific character analysis, let's see how far I get in analyzing them, favorite episodes, questions I have, predictions for the next season, and so on. So let's get started because I have a lot to talk about. Okay, so number 1, the Mistress. Although she was in the last episode of season 8, I really wanted to mention her because I just love her. And I have to say, I loved the Master because of his sassy, sarcastic, kind of erotic, insane behavior, but I feel like having the Mistress being a female and having Michelle Gomez portray her, it just brings that insaneness to another level, and it just makes it, I just love her character. That being said, she's only in 2 episodes this season. It felt like she was in more because I just loved her character, but she was only in 2. And so for most of the season, we don't really see her. That makes me sad. I hope we see her again in the next season. Hopefully that is one of my things that I really want to happen because I loved her character. She was just great. She was just funny, and I love the interactions between her and the Doctor. They were just funny. So funny. Okay, number 2, and I think this is something that a lot of people have been thinking about and maybe have not liked, and that is no more sonic screwdriver. Instead, the Doctor has a sonic pair of sunglasses. What is that? The whole thing is it is a known thing from people who don't even watch the show, that the Doctor has a sonic screwdriver. That's the thing that the Doctor has. It is part of the Doctor's character and part of it's just a necessary thing. And then he just changes it into sunglasses. No, why? How do you think you can do that? You can't do that. You can't just change that. And it just angered me because no, the whole thing is that the Doctor has a sonic screwdriver, not a sonic pair of sunglasses. Although I have to say they were quite nice. They're like the pair I have from my dad that I stole from my dad. But yes, no, you can't just make a sonic pair of sunglasses. You can't do that. You just can't. So number 3, I wanted to talk about the Doctor and Peter Capaldi. Yes, this isn't the first season with him as the Doctor, but because I haven't talked about him before, I felt like I probably should. It seems, at least what I've seen on my Twitter feed, that a lot of people don't like him as the Doctor. I don't know why. They just don't like him. But I disagree. I actually really like him. It's nice to see an older Doctor. Yeah, in the original series, a lot of the Doctors were a bit older than the ones that we've had more recently. But I've only seen from the 2005, from the Ninth Doctor. I'm trying to fix that. At some point, I will watch the original, first series, but I haven't yet. But just talking about the more recent ones, a lot of them were younger. Yeah, the ninth one was kind of a little bit older, but he was still quite young. He wasn't I don't want to be mean, but he wasn't old like Peter Capaldi. That probably sounds rude, but and I liked how they finally brought a Scottish sounding doctor, so that was cool. And those two aspects, like I said, are something that makes the 12th Doctor different from the 9th, 10th, 11th ones, and that's really interesting. And also, I like how, because of this Doctor, how the relationship between the Doctor and Clara has changed. Because with the 11th Doctor, it seemed that Clara and the Doctor had some kind of attraction between them, some kind of love between each other, not a romantic love, But now it's kind of changed because I think of the age. Of course, the Doctor is a lot older than Clara no matter what, but it didn't look like it before. Now it does. So it's kind of real that there is an age difference. And because of that, the relationship changes, and I really like what the relationship has turned into. They're really good friends. That's how it is now. And the thing is, it's different from how the 11th Doctor was with Amy Pond, because they're kind of egging each other on. They're more like a child. They're more like children, like a children friendship. And they keep on trying to one-up each other, I guess. And they're not caring about responsibilities as much as the other Doctors did to a point. But yeah, so they kind of, they're reckless. They're reckless. They don't really care what happens. They just have fun with what they're doing. And I really like that relationship. It was nice to see. Okay, 4. Isolde. Probably pronouncing that wrong, but Isolde/me. So we were first introduced to her in the 5th episode titled The Girl Who Died, and she's been in 3 or 4 episodes within the season. Obviously, because of that, she's important. There's very few people who get reoccurring spots in the seasons other than the Doctor, of course, and their companion. Yeah, there might be some reappearances throughout different between seasons, but not in one specific season, that much. So obviously I think Isolde/me is important. Definitely important for the season. I'm not sure how important she'll be in further seasons, but I'll talk about that later. But I have some trouble with her character. Not necessarily her character, but the situations around that character. In The Girl Who Died, she was, as you would guess by the title, about to die, but the Doctor gives her this pill thing. I think it was a Mayan remedy or something that prevents her from dying and therefore makes her immortal. And he gives her another one for if she ever finds someone she wants to spend forever with. My question is, why hasn't the Doctor given this to one of his companions before? If he wouldn't be alone. How did he just come to own it and not use it at all for any of his companions before, and just uses it on this random girl? I don't understand at all. Because one of the main things about the Doctor is that he's always lonely, and that's why he has his companions. but the companions all either die or leave because they grow up or whatever. Why hasn't he used this to get like Rose or Donna or Amy and Rory? He could have used it to save both Amy and Rory since he had two. Like, what? Why hasn't this been shown before, discussed before? Like, I'm just confused with that. Why did he decide to save Ashildr? What made her so important? She later goes by the name of Me and sets out to undo, basically, the damage that the Doctor leaves, or that the Doctor causes, and in a way becomes self-righteous, just like the Doctor is, but she even goes further because the Doctor at least tries to, or at least in previous Doctors, they don't want to have the power. Like, they don't want to have that supreme power, or they learn that having that power is not good for them because they are power does bad stuff to them. And like I said, she goes farther than the Doctor's self-righteousness. And I feel this is important, and I'll talk about her a little bit later. But again, I think that we'll be seeing a lot of her next season, I think. So number 5, the Zygon invasion and inversion, which are episodes 7 and 8. In this episode, it was nice to see the Osgoods again. But I felt that this episode, holy crap, I can't talk. I felt that this episode was kind of random. I mean, the fact that there are 2 Osgoods wasn't really touched upon, I don't think, the last time that they were mentioned, which was the last episode of season 8. So, like, bringing that in was kind of weird. I mean, I still found this episode interesting, but it was still a bit confusing. And also there was, like, a very powerful element to it. I really enjoyed seeing the Osgood box conundrum. That was quite interesting. But I don't completely understand from that episode why the Doctor was constantly asking the remaining Osgood, because one of them had died, if it was the human one or if it was the Zygon one. It seemed like there was a lot of importance in that because he kept constantly asking that question. But it was never answered why that was important. I don't know, that might be touched on later, or it might just be the fact that it was showing the Doctor that he shouldn't really care because, I don't know, that was the moral of the thing. Don't care. Don't be preoccupied with, what would it be, species, I guess? Alien versus human? I don't know. So I was really confused with that. It seemed like I said, a lot of importance was put on that because it was said so many times throughout those 2 episodes. But this episode was also quite powerful because the Doctor was trying to make a point about war. I don't remember exactly what he said. I just remember how powerful and how emotional his statement was. And it seems like every season the Doctor has something powerful to say, and I feel like this was that statement for this season. Number 6. Sleep No More, episode 9. I think this might have been my favorite episode purely because of the song Mr. Sandman. I just liked how it was connected into the episode. But this episode again kind of confused me. At the end, the bad guy who created the sleep machine that created the monsters, he got away, like he lived. And how the ending was kind of put, it seemed like he will come back. Like, he's not completely, like, overtaken. He doesn't see the error in his ways. So it seems like something more will come from that. But I'm not sure because it was just 1 episode. So, I don't know. It just seemed like there was importance put on that scene where the Doctor, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was something like, oh, I'll make another one and make it better or something. I don't exactly remember exactly what I said. I just said exactly like 5 times in that sentence. But yeah, I feel like it isn't the last time you've seen something that deals with the Sandman or the Sandman monsters or whatever. 7. Clara. This is something really important. She's been absent from one episode, although when I was writing this, I thought it was a lot more than one episode. It feels like she's been absent for much longer, but when I looked it up, it was only one. One time she wasn't in it until the second to last episode. But it felt like we didn't have as much time with her. But when we do have her present, which is most of the time in this season, she's a lot more reckless, and she's a lot riskier. She's living on the edge, and she's basically turning into the Doctor. Their personalities, like I said before, are kind of rubbing on each other, so they're egging each other on and that kind of stuff. And like I said before, they're kind of acting like little kids, how they like egg each other on. And I think that is why Clara needed to die. For most of the companions, they kind of rein in the Doctor to prevent him from losing humanity, even though, of course, he's not a human, but he needs the humanity to be able to save the world and be just and nice and good, just purely good. But with Clara, like I said before, they egg each other on and kind of go away from humanity. Not maybe go away, but they see the more negative aspects, I guess, of humanity without being like evil and that kind of stuff. The more negative, simple aspects of humanity, being curious and wanting to go farther and that kind of stuff, which is good in moderation, but to the extent that the Doctor and Clara did it, kind of not good. So I think that's why Clara needed to die. And oh my goodness, it was extremely emotional and unexpected and unwanted when it happened. Like, I was bawling. Again, I do that a lot with TV shows and anything fictional, but that one really got me going. But like I said, it kind of needed to happen. Clara wasn't helping the Doctor in any positive way, so it needed to happen. I'll talk about her a little bit more concerning when talking about other points. 8. Heaven Sent, episode 11. Okay, so this episode completely confused me. Yeah, it sort of gets explained in the last episode, but then that episode also adds more questions about what was happening in this episode, so I'm just confused. So in this episode, the Doctor is sent to this world by me because of someone's instruction. There is this creature at this world that goes after the Doctor, is only driven away when the Doctor reveals a secret that he's never talked about before. But ultimately, this is kind of like a big Groundhog's Day episode where he keeps on reliving the same experiences over and over again for billions of years, I think, until he escapes. Which that brings me to point 9, which is Hellbent episode 12, the last episode of the season. Here we find out that the Time Lords were the people who had me send him to this place because they wanted to learn about the hybrid. Now this is one point that I'm really confused about. Has the hybrid been mentioned beforehand? Because I honestly have not heard of it, I don't think, or at least don't remember it before this episode. Also in this episode, we find that Clara is saved from dying by being taken by the Time Lords right before her last heartbeat, so she is stuck between heartbeats. Then later on, we see me again at the end of the world when the Doctor is trying to get Clara's heartbeat to start up again. I forget the explanation, but I think it was something like she was going to be dead until the end of time. So he brought her to the end of time to try to get her heartbeat started. Then the Doctor and me are talking about the hybrid, which again, was this talked about beforehand? And they're giving their own thoughts on what the hybrid might be. although it doesn't seem that a clear definition or whatever of what the hybrid is was given. And their talk basically ends with the decision to have Clara forget about the doctor because the doctor and Clara have been getting reckless and all that jazz. She's not helping the doctor do his duties. Clara, of course, overhears this and then tries to prevent it from happening, but instead makes it so the doctor forgets Clara. It then ends with the doctor being dropped off in the middle of nowhere, but he finds his TARDIS and is given a sonic screwdriver. Thank the Lord. I was really missing it. I was glad that they brought it back and didn't stick with the sonic sunglasses, because no, you can't do that. The whole thing, like I said before, is that it's a sonic screwdriver. And then Clara and me are in a new TARDIS, and she still doesn't have her heartbeat. So that was a really important episode, I think, for next season. So, point number 10. This is where my predictions are going to be talked about. My main prediction is that at some point in the next season, Clara and me are going to meet up with the doctor, and there is going to be a recognition scene between the doctor and Clara, because the doctor still doesn't know exactly who Clara is. He remembers the stories about her, but he doesn't have a face to match the name. So I feel like that is definitely going to happen, and everything's going to go downhill from there, because I don't know, I just feel like it will. As for other smaller things I think might happen, I think the hybrid will become more important. I think it'll finally be defined, because again, it was just brought up and like it wasn't completely explained. So I feel like that has to happen. 2, the doctor might get a new companion, which might add problems to the recognition scene, because Clara might get jealous and that kind of stuff. Or he'll remember Clara and like completely push away the new companion, like kind of like what happened with the 10th Doctor and Martha. Hopefully, this is something that might not happen, but I wish does happen, is that Missy will come back in some way and hopefully just complicate everything up. And then the last thing is I think the Time Lords might have a part in it, because the doctor kind of left them in a mess. Like, he completely messed everything up for them. So if you have stayed to the end of this, thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any predictions, if you agree with what I've said, what your favorite episode was of the season, favorite character, whatever. And if you enjoyed this, please give it a thumbs up and share it maybe, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I will be coming out with Once Upon a Time mid-season finale next, so I hope you watch that as well. Hope you guys are having a good day. Bye!